courage to be real, where real stories break the silence.
Can we go to a place where I think a lot of couples who maybe are listening to this together might be wondering what, because there's something very specific that I remember Drew sharing in some of our sessions, his need for validation. And it was always through sex.
Yes,
and you did not feel safe enough. And he's like, man, I want her to want me. I want to feel validated by her. And you're like, So can you share from a woman's perspective, from your perspective, hopefully for any women that are listening, any guys that are listening, how sex now, how was it back then? What's the difference?
Right.
And can you shed some insight here for us?
Yeah, no, I have no problem with it. I mean, I'm not shy about it. I'll tell you this, for Drew, he's probably still not getting enough in his mind. But yeah, before, oh my gosh, it was constant. It was constantly, he wanted sex. And somebody says, well, he's a young guy. He's full of testosterone, this and that. It was never enough. It wasn't enough sex. It wasn't enough, hey, I love you. It wasn't enough touching him. It wasn't enough giving nothing I did. I touched him, he wanted more. It became the more I gave, the more he wanted, to the point where it actually did the opposite with me. I didn't want anything to do with him. I was afraid to touch him because I knew that if I touch him just casually on the shoulder, he's going to want to have sex. And I mean, let's face it, you know what? Men and women are different. Okay. But, you know, we have different sex drives, whatever. I didn't want to have sex 24/7. And it wasn't like, I mean, okay, once we had it, it was great. But what I'm saying, it wasn't meaningful because it was almost like he just had to have it. You know, he just had to have it just to make himself feel better that I love him. I don't know what was going on in the back of his mind, but it was just never enough. It was exhausting, you know, not only like physically, but just mentally, constantly trying to satisfy this guy, whether with compliments or the constant touch and this and that. Yeah, it became a full-time job, honestly. It just became to the point where I wasn't attracted to him, you know? And, you know, Drew's wearing his shirt right now, but dude's like built. He's got a great body. I see how other women react to him. I didn't want anything to do with it. You know, I really didn't, because I knew the minute I showed him any form of affection, it would have to lead to sex. And and it didn't matter if I wanted it, if I didn't want it. It's to him, it didn't matter. It was just like, I guess, his form of validation. Now, you know, again, I will preface that I am 49 years old. I am going through, God, I hate this, my changes in life, you know, premenopause. So I am having some difficulties with, you know, changing of hormones and then this and that. And I have to say, if I was going through what I'm going through now with my hormones and Drew was the same way like he was before, I don't know what I would do, because quite honestly, you know, well, you guys don't know because you're not female, but women that are going to be listening to this, your hormones are so up and down that if I had to constantly try to satisfy him sexually, it would be very difficult. Now I can touch him, give him a hug, but I have to say I'm still scared. You know, I still have that trauma. And sometimes he has to remind me, you know, hey, you know, I'd like a hug, I'd like a this, and then I'll do it, you know, because I think I do still have that residual trauma from the past. So I am a little bit afraid to do it. But, you know, yeah, it's nice to cuddle and not have expectations or just constantly be. Drew didn't know how to be affectionate. It was always, if he wanted to be affectionate, it was just always be a boob grab or a butt grab or this. That was his form. He didn't know how to be affectionate. He didn't know how to sit next to you and just cuddle or, you know, just a kiss or this and that. So, yeah, I mean, even in that aspect, he's changed tremendously. I don't feel that pressure constantly. Especially when I'm having bad days and I'm thinking, oh my God, before I was like, oh my God, we haven't had sex for 2 days. It's coming. You know, we're going to have to do it soon. Like, I hope my libido comes up or something. I don't have that pressure anymore. And it's nice because you can do it when, you know, you want to, and when it's feeling good. And there's times now where I'm like, hey babe, let's, and he's like, I mean, of course he's for it, but I don't have to do it because I feel pressured into it. I'm doing it because I want to.
Yeah.
And that's
I have to, that's good. Thank you for sharing that. Go ahead, Drew. Yeah.
I have to clarify. So you don't like just random boob grabs, butt grabs? I'm kind of shocked. So there is something,
Drew, can you fill us in on, can you fill us in, Drew, on your perspective now of your need for validation there? And can you link it to childhood trauma for our listeners?
Absolutely. And that's what I was just going to segue into. So it's interesting because, Maggie, you can attest to this. When I started working with Jason, now it wasn't immediate, like you said, and it took several sessions. We worked one-on-one every single week, plus he gave me homework and things to do and tools to work with. And I had a lot of writing for a dyslexic. And it took a little while, again, for me to love myself. Once I could actually love myself and appreciate myself and forgive my past and actually face it, deal with it, own it, I didn't need the validation through sex. Sex was love. I didn't know how to love. For me, having sex meant that I was being loved. Now, if she just gives me a kiss, if she walks by, if she smiles at me, if she hugs me, if she tells me she loves me, that's love. Now, sex is an added bonus, but it's not a necessity. It's not, you don't love me if we don't. And unfortunately, I was in that tailspin. I just didn't feel appreciated or needed or loved or any of the mental or physical qualities that come with a relationship without actually performing or having sex, which, on the surface sounds absolutely horrible, but there's a lot of guys like me that just confuse sex with love. They just don't. And I've spoken to other people and they're like, yeah, my wife hates me. We haven't had sex in a week. Well, your wife doesn't hate you. She might be sick and tired of you and, hate your bullshit, but she doesn't hate you. And you're mixing up, and now I can talk about this. You are mixing up sex with love. And they're two totally different things. And it took me a while to understand that, to realize that. And part of it, again, was understanding myself and facing what I had to face, doing what I had to do, forgiving my past, which was a tough step, and loving myself. And once I could do that, then I could love our relationship. I can actually appreciate this woman without her being naked. And I feel appreciated without her being naked. And it's totally changed. I think it's really enhanced our relationship because now when we do get physical, it's like, oh, wow, this is great. This isn't just us going through the motions. This actually means something. And we both, benefit incredibly, her more than me, of course, but we both benefit incredibly out of it. Thank you. And it's really a chance. And I'd like to say this to other people out there, especially men that have a traumatic past, especially an abusive traumatic past, and you're not ready to face it. The sooner that you do, the sooner you're going to enhance and save your own relationship. And that's really what it came down to. It came down to, I can appreciate her. I can respect her. I can actually be in a room with her. I can hold her hand. We can quasi dance, in which we're going to a dance in a couple of weeks with some friends, and we could just enjoy each other. And there's absolutely nothing assumed. There's no stress. There's no anticipation. There's no absolutes. If we end the night rolling around in the sheets, then we end the night rolling around the sheets. If we end the night because it's going to be a long night, just saying, hey, we're beat, and we just, give each other a nice big kiss or we cuddle a little bit. Again, this is our relationship. This is love. And it's something that I just had to really, really learn. And I didn't have that. I didn't have those skills. I had two parents that divorced very young. They were constantly fighting. I had a situation that came a couple years later. And so when I see relationships, or when I'm part of a relationship, I should say, I was wired wrong. I was taught wrong. I didn't have the cool dad. It's similar to yourself, the dad to take you fishing, or the dad to teach you this, or dad to teach you that. Or I didn't have the dad kissing my mom saying how much they love each other. That just wasn't there. My childhood memories are them fighting. And then us moving far away. And then every summer, my going to visit my dad, who really didn't want me to come and visit him, sad to say. So I have a lot of trauma that I built up and a lot of stress. And unfortunately, I expected my relationship with my wife to be everything that my parents' relationship wasn't. And by forcing it, I was almost becoming my parents. And it took really learning the tools that you gave me, Jason, and really learning how to be that husband, that father, person of the house, the man of the house, in order to gain my wife's respect and my wife's love. And this is a totally different ballgame. So anyone who's listening that's in a similar situation, or it's wondering, scratching your head, why doesn't my wife touch me? I do this and I do that and she should blah, blah, blah. You're going at it wrong. Take a deep breath. You're going at it wrong. And you need to face whatever you need to face, because something is driving it. And it can be something very big. It could be something very little, but something's definitely driving that. And now, she came on our show, which, she wanted the chance to really, just give it to me, and the world can now see. I'm just kidding. But she came on our show, and she's brave enough to come on our show and just talk candid with us and be real. And every time I see this woman, and every time I hear her and the struggles that she put up with me, and I was no saint, I just love her and respect her even more. And I feel horrible. I do. I wish I could go back and change the past. All I can do now is live for each day and change the future. And be the best husband I can be for you, be the best father I can be for Cam, be the best grandfather I could be for Kyla when I get to see her coming up soon. Like I mentioned, I'm a grandpa now. And I'll be the best friend I can be to all of my friends out there. And Maggie will even attest to this. I can let go of friends. Now, I have friends for 40 plus years. And I even told you, the brothers in Ohio, my friend Arif in California. I have some friends that I've known for a long time that I've kept, but these are long distance friendships. I have some other friends, Montenegro and Switzerland. We met in Berlin recently. Again, these are more recent, but I'm very picky and very choosy when it comes to friends. And I could just say, I'm done. And I could walk away from a friendship. And she's seen me do it. And she goes, why do you treat him? Well, I don't have to have an excuse. I usually have a good reason in my head. It might be a terrible reason when I say it out loud, but I could just say, all right, forget you. You don't belong in my life. It's too tough to maintain a friendship from you. And I could just walk away from it. Now I look at people a little bit differently. And it's like, you know what? This Jason Plevell guy, he's got some good character behind him. He's got some mad coaching skills. He really cares about people. This is somebody that I'm attracted to, not in a gay way, but I'm attracted to because you're the type of person that I would like to emulate, and I would like to take some of your qualities and actually apply them to my life. So now I look at people a little bit differently. What do you have, or what qualities do you have that are attractive, or that say, hey, Drew, if you model yourself after this person, or if you associate yourself and spend some time with this person, you can become a better person. So now I judge people before I become their friend, which maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing. And Maggie, my beautiful wife, will attest to the fact that I had a very bad experience with a shrink before you came along, really bad. And then she tells me after the fact, I really had this bad gut feeling about her. I'm like, you could have told me. So now I'll ask Maggie. And what did I do just the other day? It's like, what do you think about this? What's your gut tell you? And I will throw that at her all the time now. She has a sixth sense. She kind of can see things or feel things, or she gets some kind of a sense about something. I don't see it. I'm blind to this. I'll take people on their face value. Now I'm getting a little bit more picky, and I'll say, you know what, Maggie, what do you think about this situation? What do you think about that person? What do you think about, we're looking at possible new schools for Cam. And I feel great about this new school, but I back off and I'm like, Maggie, what do you think about? And I'm letting her take that lead, because she has that gut instinct where I don't. And I don't put myself in a position anymore where it comes to finding so many friends. I can find friends easily, she'll tell you. But I don't put myself in a position of spending time with people when they have nothing to offer to the friendship. And I know that's picky, but in the long run, I can form lasting, deep-rooted friendships that mean something. I don't have to have a lot of friends. I just have to have a couple.
So good quality connections, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But yeah, my wife is brilliant in some ways.
Courage to be real, where real stories break the silence.